The official trailer for Doom: The Dark Ages finally released yesterday afternoon, and it looks incredible. We have a surprising amount of gameplay to break down in today's video, including our first look at new enemies, weapons, abilities, and locations. High-quality screenshots and official story details will continue to be released throughout the next few days. I'll have a video going over that information later this week, so be sure to subscribe for that. We're going to start with the gameplay first, since that was easily the best part of the reveal. Then we'll take a look at some of the levels and additional details. Right off the bat, we're given a look at one of the Doomslayer's new weapons, the versatile shield saw. While it currently isn't known if this will be tied to ammo regeneration like in the previous two games, we do know that you'll be able to perform a large variety of actions with this essential equipment item. It can be thrown and recalled for hard-hitting long-range attacks, allowing the player to shred through hordes of fodder or attack larger demons directly. It can also be used defensively, giving you the option to temporarily block incoming damage, hastily bash into enemies, and perform counterattacks that will temporarily stun your foes. Dark Ages will be introducing melee combat elements like the flail, a short-range medieval weapon capable of dishing out heavy damage to even the strongest of enemies. A basic kick with a glowing particle effect can be seen during one combat encounter, possibly taking the place of a normal punch mechanic. The super shotgun makes an unsurprising return, but it's not the one from Doom Eternal, as it's designed to be used with one hand and it doesn't have the meat hook. This time around, the SSG is packing a serious punch. It can blow the arm clean off of a Mancubus and obliterate a Hell Knight with just a single shot, assuming that it wasn't buffed for the trailer. The most notable new tool in the Slayer's arsenal is the Skull Crusher, a heavy metal weapon that crushes skulls and launches the fragments at anything that's unfortunate enough to be in front of you. The plasma rifle is a somewhat surprising but certainly welcome addition to the Dark Ages. This version is a compact, one-handed, fast-firing laser rifle with noticeable recoil. A heavy nail gun appears briefly near the end of the trailer, although it's not nearly as fast as Quake's trademark weapon. The slow fire rate and high precision leads me to believe that it will be filling in the railgun role that was previously taken by the ballista and the Gauss cannon. On top of the killer arsenal, the Slayer can now pilot his own Atlan mech and battle the Titans previously seen in Eternal. It's safe to assume that special glory kills and weaponry will be accessible when using the mech, which sounds insanely fun. A mecha dragon equipped with its own jetpack and turrets can also be used to fly through huge environments and fight unannounced creatures. A potential dragon glory kill is briefly shown at the very end of the trailer, teasing even more features that we'll undoubtedly see once more gameplay is revealed. The iconic Mancubus is back and stronger than ever. His pale flesh, human-like features, and large body have been equipped with dual arm cannons that can shoot waves of flaming skulls. Despite being set in the past, quite a few enemies have been modified with cybernetic enhancements, confirming that Hell will be using their own technology instead of UAC augmentations. Like most things, the Mancubus only shows up for a few seconds, but during their brief time on screen you can see a new variation of the shield soldiers. They're a welcome addition to the endless army of undead sentinel fodder seen throughout the gameplay segments, replacing the militaristic zombies we know all too well. It's unclear if they're capable of doing more than just basic attacks and being used as resource fuel, but they look fairly harmless from what we can see. The design for the basic zombie apparently wasn't completed at the time this gameplay was captured. You can see that Doom Eternal's Unwilling were used as placeholder models while the team cooks up something more fitting. I am incredibly happy to say that classic imps have finally made a comeback. They're a bit hard to spot, but several buff imps were placed throughout the trailer. One of them gets easily nailed to a wall despite the tougher look, so they're likely still classified as low-tier fodder. The Revenant has received a bit of an upgrade after Eternal demoted them to weak heavy demons. They can now leap into the air and shoot devastating bursts of explosive skulls. Organic Hellblasters have been attached to their chainmail armor, which is a cool reference to the skeleton deadites from Army of Darkness. The Pinky surprisingly has the most mechanical depth out of all of the enemies that have been shown so far. They can now be mounted by sentinels capable of launching waves of hell energy. The green attacks can probably be countered with the shield, giving players an opening to knock the soldier off of the beast. It doesn't seem like Pinkies will be killed once their rider is dismounted, and I'd imagine that the soldiers can keep fighting without riding, meaning that they can quickly become a double threat if you aren't careful. While the Hell Knights do have their classic green fire attacks, they remain relatively unchanged from their previous iterations, which is a bit underwhelming. This would have been the perfect time to bring back the monstrous classic Hell Knight, but maybe the Baron will be treated better. A massive variant of the Agadon Hunter is the reveal standout enemy. This cybernetically enhanced super heavy demon carries a thick shield and a large sword that can likely be parried. This definitely is not the same exact type of demon that was used to create the Doom Hunter in Eternal, but there's a lot of similarities in the facial structure, so I assume that they're closely related. It's pretty interesting to see that the melee weapons still work on the heavy hitters. There's a lot of places they could take the combat if enemies like the Marauder and Cyber Demon make a return. Primitive Arachnotrons have joined Dark Ages enemy roster alongside an unidentified floating brain enemy. Outside of the fresh design and laser barrage, they don't get a chance to do much in the short amount of time they're on screen. I'm hoping we get to see more of them in the near future. The floating brain enemy could be a Cacodemon or a Pain Elemental, however the gameplay isn't clear enough to tell. At the beginning of the trailer, we got a good look at the Doomslayer's badass new armor, which is seemingly a less advanced version of Eternal's Praetor Suit 2.0. It's a unique fusion of the modern appearance we're all familiar with and the Sentinel training armor that was previously introduced as a cosmetic. It combines traditional chainmail and leather pouches with futuristic technology and a fur cape to tie it all together. While the Doomblade and the equipment launcher won't be returning, I'm sure the flail and shield saw will be worthy replacements, especially since they're more interactive. The Maker Battle Station may be taking the place of a Fortress of Doom, serving as a hub that players return to periodically throughout the campaign. It could even allow you to fast travel through the huge open levels that were shown in the background of each gameplay segment, which is something that a lot of viewers may have completely missed. None of the areas we've been shown so far look like combat arenas, meaning that either these battles take place between fights or Dark Ages level design will be much more open than the previous entries. When it comes to the levels themselves, only a few locations stand out from the rest, the first being a huge Sentinel Coliseum decorated with the bones of a never-before-seen Titan demon. This could possibly be the Gladiator Pit that the Slayer visited in Doom Eternal, but the lack of context makes it difficult to come to a solid conclusion. Doom 2016's multiplayer included a map called Empyrean, a floating sentinel structure surrounded by abandoned sky cities, and a more advanced version of that makes a brief appearance here. I think this is one of the coolest locations we've seen so far. I'm pretty excited to see where this part of the story leads. The Slayer will fight his way through an overtaken sentinel mech factory during the campaign. This is the place where we'll likely acquire the Skull Crusher and the usable Atlan. We also got a chance to see the game's slightly more medieval interpretation of Hell during the Slayer's Shield Saw Fodder Slaughter. It may not seem very unique at first, but the subtle differences are enough to give it a different vibe than what we experienced in Eternal. A dusty, rocky orange location with noticeably high-tech buildings can be seen in the background of a Titan fight, and I personally believe that this is Mars. These structures don't really align with the Sentinel architecture we've seen so far, and the endless dust buildup was present in both recent interpretations of the UAC's headquarters. I'm not sure how or why we'll end up back at a UAC facility, but I have no doubt that we'll have a blast getting there. More information regarding the story and gameplay is still being released. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with Doom: The Dark Ages. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. That's pretty much all that I have for now, though. Until next time.